Hello, welcome to Switched On. Paul speaking, and it's been a while, hasn't it, since we've uploaded a video, but there's whys and wherefores for that, which I'll get into at another time. But for now, we're looking at a new game that's coming to the Nintendo Switch this Friday. That's the 29th of January. God, I can't believe January is nearly over already in this already horrible year. But here we are, 29th of January, this one, Turrican Flashback. And as an old gamer, I remember playing this one back in the day on my Commodore 64. And probably more often, more than that on the Amiga. An absolutely brilliant system. Probably in my top 3 systems of all time. Probably alongside the Switch. It'd probably be between the Switch and the Amiga for my favourite all-time systems. So that's how much this game means to me to come onto the Switch. This is a collection of 4 Turrican games digitally, and there is actually a limited edition physical option that comes on 2 cartridges with an extra game on, Super Turrican II, and that is released I think by Strictly Games. I'm not too sure, I'm not too hot on physical games, but it comes in 2 separate physical games and also a collection as well with some extra goodies, so look out for that if you're a physical collector. But we're focusing on the digital version just now, and as you can see from on the screen here, we've got 4 games. We've got Turrican, the original game, as I say, was released on the Commodore 64, but more popularly known on the Commodore Amiga in 1990. So it would have put me around about 13, 14 years of age, prime gaming time, prime gaming age. Turrican 2, which I'm probably going to leave until last to talk about, as it's one of my favourite games. So we'll go into a little bit more detail. Mega Turrican, which was released on the Sega Mega Drive, or the Genesis if you're American, in 1994, and Super Turrican, which came out on the Super Nintendo, or the SNES as we call it over here in Europe. So there's the 4 games on the collection for one fantastic price. We're going to have a look at, we're going to start with Turrican, start with the original game in the series. We're going to have a quick look at the options, because like a lot of these old remasters and reimaginings, they do come with some options that you may be interested with. You can change controls, which we will get to in a second. Change some of the sound options there. Change how the HUD shows. These are the sort of thing that you'd expect from these sort of games, though. The display, so you can display it as a full screen, 4.3 ratio, which is the old CRT ratio that these games would have been played on, and then perfect. And you can preview those with a hold down of the ZR button. Scaling, so how sharp the graphics are. You can choose the outside wallpaper if that's your bag. Shaders, this is something that gets a lot of attention in these games. So the only 2 we've got is basically no shader or CRT, but within the CRT option you've got lots of sub options, so you can tweak that to your heart's desire. I've had a try of the CRT mode. I quite like the CRT in these old retro games. It really does bring that retro feeling home. I know a lot of people don't like it, so I'll leave it off for now, but maybe in Turrican 2 we'll flick it back on. Colour, you can actually have RGB, black and white. Some, if you had a black and white telly back in the day to play your Amiga or your Commodore on, that's what you were stuck with. BGR, BRG, RBG, it's just all sorts of different options there. We're just going to leave it on RGB. Rewinding, the game's got rewinding in, holding down the left bumper button if I remember rightly. It's hard without playing it, but yeah, I think it's the left bumper button to do a rewind, and you can default the options, and there is a high score table as well, which I don't think is online. I think it's just a local table. But let's get into the game. So if you're not aware of Turrican, this is a pang of nostalgia right here, by the way. Rainbow Arts. Any old sort of veteran gamers will remember them. Lovely bit of synthesized speech there. Again, take for granted these days, of course. Back in the day, was your computer was talking to you, and your nan in the corner would be crossing herself. The weird box in the corner is talking. But yeah, obviously not so impressive these days. And if you're not aware what Turrican is, it's a run and gunner. Probably a little bit like, I don't know, Metroid maybe? A lot of people liken it to Mega Man. Takes influences from a few different games. So here we are. This is your character, the Turrican. You start off with a basic blaster, holding down the Y button. We're probably going to run out of time here. We are on a timer. You can see that in the bottom HUD. Counting down, 480 seconds left. So look at some of the moves that you got. Now, bear in mind, I'm gonna go through some of these controls. Bear in mind, back in the day on the Commodore and the Amiga, you had a one-button joystick, so a joystick with one fire button on it, and you had a range of moves in this game that was probably like nothing else like it at the time. So you got your basic blasting, which you would do by tapping your fire button back in the day. Now, if you held down the fire button, you would get this beam, which you can spin around 360 degrees. One of my first, I'm going to say complaints is going to be really harsh, but one of my first little niggles is that this isn't 360 directional on your joystick. You have to hold down either left or right to spin it left or right, where instinctively, because you know in similar games nowadays, you would just spin your analog stick around to where you wanted to point to, and it would do that. But obviously back in the day, joysticks were 8 direction only, weren't 360 direction, so it was no point rotating around. So you just hold down left and right to spin it around left and right, which really, as I say, does take a little while to get your head around. Obviously jump, which on here is the B button. Back in the day would have just been up on the joystick. So there's another little quality of life extra that we're used to these days. Pressing the X button fires these bombs. You get a limited amount. Middle bottom there, the little round icon, so your little grenades. Press the A button, you can plant a mine. Now I believe back in the day that would have been down and fire button to plant a mine. The R button does a screen clearing force field. I think back in the day it was on the spacebar maybe. And then you can turn into this spinning wheel of death, a bit like Samus in Metroid. You can use it unlimited times. You've got a health bar on the right hand side if you haven't seen that going down when I've been hit. Little secret there, if you go back, pick up a 1-up. But you have to avoid the little walker things that come towards you. Now, one of the things about Turrican is that, it's run and gun action, which is cool, but it's quite closely zoomed in, as you'll see, so it makes it quite hard to see what's coming up. So that's another little niggle. Again, this is all old school gamers would be used to this kind of thing, but if you're not really played many retro games, then these sort of things may be a niggle for you. Another little niggle, it will certainly be the difficulty level for some people. I say some people like I'm an expert at this game. I'm rubbish at old games. How on earth we used to play them, I do not know. But I've been really struggling with Turrican. So yeah, it is a really, really hard game. For me anyway, who's not very good at games and got the reactions of a snail. You can see that if you get caught on an enemy running away from it, it's kind of like sitting over you, it will just drain your health. So you're collecting these little diamonds as well in the level. And it is quite, I'd say some Metroidvania-y, because you don't really, you don't necessarily need power-ups to unlock different areas, but the levels are certainly big and do need a bit of exploring. If you like, you'll find some little secrets tucked away. There's also some like hidden blocks, a bit like in Mario. Yeah. So there's like some hidden blocks to find. There's a quite a famous one right at the start of Turrican II, which gives you a load of power-ups. I'm not going to miss that. Oh no, I got it. So that P there gives you your health back. But there's lots of different power-ups, including new weapons. So go back up to the surface. And we're basically looking for an exit and to kill the boss. Some falling rocks. I mean, again, I think even for now, it's quite an impressive looking game. Especially when you sort of consider the retro-styled modern games that come out. Spikes. But yeah, it's a great looking game. But cast your mind back. Where are we? 31 years. That's ridiculous. 31 years. 1990. And just imagine what this felt like playing on a home computer. You know, this hasn't been updated for the Switch or anything either. This is pretty much as it was back in the day, so it's really impressive. So there you go, you can get a kind of an idea of the performance and the controls. That's how the game plays. As I fall to my death. What we're going to do is we're going to switch back and have a look at a couple of the other games. Oh, let's have, actually, while we're here, let's just show you a couple of features. So the first one I will show you is the rewind. So yeah, hold down left bumper button and you've pretty much got unlimited rewinds. So if you find yourself dying or you want to try something different, hold down the left button, the left bumper button, and you can just rewind back to wherever you want. And again, it's quite common in these kind of retro collections. It's kind of a staple, isn't it? So you come to expect that. The other thing you got, again, it's kind of a staple of these things, is save states. You can save your game at any time, and then just turn your game off, go and do something else, play another game, come back to it at any time, and you can load a save state in and just carry on from where you left off. Again, a really nice feature. Even if it is, kind of expected nowadays. Apart from that, there's not many other bells and whistles. We're going to go back to the menu and have a look at another game. There is these little introductions on the game. So you get a paragraph on the story of each game. And then a paragraph on the release, which I found really nice. But that is basically it. You've got no necessarily any other alternate artwork or music or anything. I believe the physical version does come with some soundtracks, I think, but no such luck here with the digital version. So first we're going to look at Super Turrican, which again I remember having on the SNES. Probably paid about £70 for it back in the day. People moan about game prices these days. You didn't live through the SNES era and the price we pay for cartridges back then. But I remember getting this because I obviously was a fan from the Amiga. And before I booted this up on the Switch, I was looking back with some really rose-tinted glasses, thinking how good Super Turrican was. And then when I started playing it, I was almost vomiting in regards to the sort of parallax scrolling. It's quite nausea-inducing. So, but we'll have a look at it. Just really was like, I don't know why, but it was just really making me feel ill. Some really sort of nauseating parallax scrolling, but you can see it's slightly different to the original Turrican. This Mega Turrican and Super Turrican were kind of amalgamations of other releases and sort of all put together in one compilation. So the beam in the SNES version actually freezes the enemies, and again it's operated by moving left and right. And as I say, it will freeze enemies, so let's have a look at that. So see there, it can freeze it, and after a couple of seconds the enemies are free to move again. But, that's quite handy, quite a different way of doing things. So here we go, there we found a little hidden block that released a load of power-ups. I don't think the graphics of the actual the character, your Turrican character, are particularly good either. It looks a bit chunky. Looks like he's piled on the pounds since the Amiga version. Just looks a bit. It doesn't look as good, even though this was released some sort of 4 years after the Amiga version. Still don't think it looks very good. So let me know below if you had any of these versions, by the way. If you had the Amiga version, the Mega Drive version, or the SNES version. Before I was stuck there. I was going to say as well, I've obviously got the same moves as you have in the other Turrican games, so you can go into a ball. You've got the screen clearing feature as well. Cannot jump up there for the life of me. There we go. Bit of Mario stomping on the heads of the enemies there. I wasn't sure about the freezing first, but kind of growing to like that now. Soundtrack as well is another feature. If you're sort of old gamer, you'll appreciate the chiptunes that were produced for Turrican. Let's go back this way. Oh, the arrows tend us to go this way. That's fine. We'll go this way. But yeah, this is out of the collection. I would say this is my least favourite. I've got an order of preference, and this is by no means a bad game at all. And that sort of tells you the quality of the other Turrican games. Got the same options here. Got save states, got rewind, so we've got everything the same now. We're going to go back to the main menu and look at Mega Turrican. Now this came out on the Mega Drive, as I say. I think about the same time as well. Let's have a quick look at the synopsis actually. Yeah, this was 94 as well. Actually, the SNES version was 93, so Mega Drive version was 94. All these games by Factor 5, obviously, by the way. You keep seeing that pop up. And again, this is kind of a remix of some of the other Turrican games. Same music, but a slightly different level layout. Slightly chunky Turrican as well. Now, the difference here is you see that the Turrican hasn't got a beam. But what he has got is a grappling hook. Which after a while, and again it's you know, a bit awkward because you're pressing left and right to spin your arm around to aim. But once you get used to it, I found it a really really cool little feature. And it was really odd as well that it was, you know, quite a departure from all the other Turrican games. Well, certainly the ones on this collection anyway. You know, and you got this ability to use a grappling hook. Oh, kind of a... didn't get much of a swing now. But it actually affects the play as well. There is little environmental puzzles that you need to use the grappling hook on. To sort of swing up to different areas. So, really good. I like the way, you know, it was kind of... they didn't stick with the same formula. So I think this is maybe one of the early puzzles here actually, where you need to swing across the ledge. Let's get rid of these things shooting us. Yeah, and you can swing across. Killed. I'd say graphically this is probably... I prefer this to the Super Nintendo version. And you can hear as well, it's got a little bit more sort of synthesized speech in it as well. So I think all in all it's a pretty impressive console version. Never owned the Mega Drive back in the day. I had the SNES. So there's a lot of the Mega Drive games that I never actually got around to playing. But there you go, that's Mega Turrican on the Mega Drive, and again, all the same features. You've got a save state for that. But let's get to what I think is the star of the show, and that's Turrican II, the final fight. Again, had this on the Amiga. It's considered one of the all-time best games. When you know, people do their all-time favourite list of games, Turrican II is right up there. Especially for the Amiga, you'll see a top list of Amiga games. Turrican 2 will be right in and amongst it. As you might be able to tell through your YouTube screens, I've actually got the CRT filter on for this one. As you can see, it slightly curves the screen as well to emulate that sort of curved screen look. Yeah, triggered a special move there. Wasn't really meaning to do that. But there, as you can see, there's a hidden block there to give you loads of power-ups to start the game with, which is quite nice. There's another hidden block here. And again, gives you loads of stuff. Back to the standard sort of weapon for your 360 weapon, as opposed to the grappling hook on the Mega Drive. But as you can see, the action's a little bit faster. The controls are absolutely spot on. They really are. It's like, if you die in this game, it is on you. You cannot blame the controls in this game. And just like that, the feeling of that gun is the best in the series for me. That sort of 360 gun. Just sounds like a machine gun. Feels really satisfying to use. Gun down all these little flying things. There's actually a nest here, so these will just keep spawning and spawning till you go and deal with them. Okay, I think I've got it in the end. Ah! But again, music absolutely beautiful. Some of the classic Amiga music. I triggered my special again. I've got I think this is made by PDP, this wired gamepad, and it's got toggles on the bottom, like toggle buttons added to the back of the controller, so I often accidentally catch them and trigger something I don't mean to use. I should just take them off really. But yeah, if you want to trigger the manic screen clearing special move, that's on the X button. Nice little area here. There's like a windy area here that you can't get past, but the sort of weird shadow statue in the background, you can actually climb it. So there's a little tip there for if you're new to Turrican, and if you successfully make it along. And as you can see, these jumps, again, the controls just absolutely spot on. Really are. Get a little one up over there. I won't spoil too much more, but if you get stuck on this bit and you're not sure where to go, although an arrow does pop up there eventually, but yeah, you can head down the waterfall. Ah, and then stand on a rocket. There's a special block here, I'm sure there is. There it is. Get a load of power-ups. Not too far from here is the first boss in the game. So my recommendation would be, when you get to the boss, I would recommend using the save state. It's good to get into this little ball here to clear this area before you take this dragon type thing out. But yeah, utilise those save states before, you know, when you get to the bosses, because they can be really, really tricky. And frustration will set in if you're not used to these old sort of games. You can get frustrated really easily. But there you go. That's all 4 games looked at. So really, really recommend this. I would buy this game just for Turrican 2. If you're a fan of run and gunners, you know, absolutely no brainer. It's one of the best examples ever made. And even though it's not packed with extras, I think there's still enough here. Turrican 1 and 2 for me. Amazing games. Always will be. And, you know, Mega Turrican is really fun with that grappling hook. Super Turrican, again, you know, the worst in my opinion on the collection, but by no means a bad game. And you're getting, you know, great value for your money here. So there you go. This is out tomorrow, as I say, the 29th of January. Leave me a little comment below if you don't mind, if you're picking this one up, or if you remember it from back in the day, or if you want any more information, please let me know. But there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed that video. Please give me a thumbs up if you have, and subscribe if you're new. And I've got more videos coming this week, trying to get back into the saddle of getting videos up on the channel after a little bit of a break. So look forward to those, and click the bell if you want to be notified when they go live. But until then, I will wish you all a good evening, and I will see you all next time. Cheers everyone. Bye bye.